Kicks and Kicks is the only talk show that meets your sneaker and martial arts needs. I'm your host, Jacko, and today I'm here with lifelong sneakerhead and big fitness inspiration to me, Jesse Wines. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Good talking to you, man.
No, we were just saying it's crazy to actually, I've been following you for months and I've been seeing all your workouts and sneaker stuff, and it's just so like crazy to finally be speaking to you face to face. I say this like every episode, but it's something that I'm not going to be able to get over.
Yeah, same here, man. I mean, we pretty much connected during the pandemic. I mean, because you and I were both kind of doing the at-home stuff, and yeah, it's cool. I mean, I'm honored to have this opportunity.
No, it should be good. I mean, obviously, I contacted you over like because of the sneakers and the
Yeah,
workouts and stuff. But after like speaking to you in DMs, you told me about this incredible like weight loss journey that I'm hopefully we'll get into a bit later on
yeah,
in the episode as well. But we'll start with
yeah,
the
sure.
sneakers just because that's like it's kind of
Yeah,
the common ground between us. So
yep,
you're posting pictures. You got the Dunks, Huaraches, Air Force Ones,
yeah.
lots of Nike running and training shoes. But we'll take it back to the start. So what got you into sneakers? Where did that all come from?
So really, it started. I think I was in sixth grade, and there was this kid in my class who wasn't like, not the type of kid that you would think would be into sneakers or anything like that. And I remember I was standing at the water fountain, and he came up behind me, and he had on the Reebok pumps when they like first dropped. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, this dude's got these pumps, man. So I went home, I told my parents about it, because at that time my parents just bought me trash. Oh my God, like, just garbage. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with like McGregor sneakers. You
I
basically
don't
get them at
know.
like Kmart's and stuff, like just trash shoes. I remember I ran home and I told my parents, I was like, yo, these Dunks, like I gotta have these Dunks. So they're like, okay, we could take you to the store and look at them. We go to the store, and I think they were like $100 retail at that point. And my parents just laughed at me, and they ended up buying me a pair of, I don't know if you remember, there was like the Reebok black tops back in
I,
the day.
I don't know. It was a bit before my time, if I'm honest. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Well, the catch was it kind of looked like a pump, but the
Okay.
basketball was actually screen printed on the tongue. So again,
Okay.
my parents get me these. I go to school and just get clowned. Oh my God. So that's really where it all started.
That's the origin story. Is when you were getting
Yeah,
laughed at,
yeah.
you're like, I'm going to show these guys.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a collector.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, just coincidentally, right down the street from where I grew up, this little spot popped up called Sneaker Den. And I would ride my bike up there and just hang out with the dudes that own the shop. And they were super nice. And, at that time, and I think it still happens this way, each season Nike would send them a catalog, and it's basically, what do you want to order for the fall, what do you want to order for the spring, and it's all the sneakers. And I remember it was like, the Jordan 2s, Jordan 3s, the early Bo Jacksons, all the original trainers. And I would just
Mm.
sit there with the dudes, and they would be like, what are kids wearing in school, and I would point out like what, just so they knew what to order for the shop.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
a cool experience. And at that time, Starter was popping off. So they started getting the starter jackets in and the starter hats. And it was just a cool time because it was so pure at that time and it was so new.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, there was no such thing as like a sneakerhead. So for me, it was like this cool, like new experience that I felt like I was having on my own. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I think like nowadays, sneakerhead is such like a overused term. Like
it's,
so many
oh
people
my
know,
God.
a sneakerhead and they try and be sneakerheads and stuff. Like for me, it's funny because everyone I've spoken to, they always have like a specific place or like a setting where it all kind of started. And for me, it
Yeah.
was my first job was at a golf course, and then that I started work at like something stupid like 2 or like 3 a.m. or something like that, just like cleaning the golf balls and stuff. So it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
not nice. So and there's actually like a Nike outlet near me, so I went to apply for there, and we had to do some like kind of group task kind of thing and design a shoe. So I wanted to go in there with like as much knowledge as possible. So I started researching all this stuff. Like this was like This was like I was 15, 16, so it's like 6 or so years ago, something like that. So I was researching all this stuff, and then researching all the new ones that were coming out. And the manager actually watching me was a stockroom guy, so he was the guy that actually ordered all the stock in. So instead of like focusing on the task, I went and spoke to this guy, and I was like, "Oh, have you heard about these new?" Like I was looking at, they were doing the self-lacing shoes, from Back to the
Yeah.
Future. It was kind of that
Yeah.
time and stuff. So I was looking
Yeah.
at all the new releases and speaking to him, and because he obviously saw that I was actually passionate at the time, but I was like showing an interest in all the different shoes that were coming out. He
Yeah.
actually gave me a role in the warehouse rather than out the front, like on the tills and stuff. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so then I got to open up all the new packages that came in, and it was almost like it was Christmas every time we got a
That's
delivery,
amazing,
because
man.
I was just ripping open the boxes, the new Jordans and stuff. It was an
That's
outlet.
amazing.
It was an outlet, so it wasn't like the really exclusive stuff. But we
Yeah.
got some
Yeah.
Jordan 1, some Air Maxes in there as well. So yeah, that was my first experience. I mean, I'm relatively new to it just because like I wasn't around like when Jordan and Michael
Yeah.
Jordan was about and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
sort
Yeah.
of been and for me as well, I know like places like London and stuff. I live in quite like a remote area, so sneakers sort of haven't really caught up here, if you get what I mean. Like
Yeah.
in
Sure.
in school, we would have like people with Air Maxes. You wouldn't see many Jordans. At first I thought it was just because it was the UK. Like basketball isn't really as big over here. It's more like soccer or football for us.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so we'd be looking at more like Adidas shoes and stuff like that. But I think it's just the place that I live. It's not really like fashion centric. It's more like,
Yeah.
farmers field and stuff like that. So
Yep.
different
Yep.
experiences. It is crazy. Different experiences just getting into the game.
But you
What,
did. I mean, the word that you use, passion, when you were talking about, when you're talking that stockroom dude. I mean, that's what it's all about, and that's what I think. Like now, it's not about that. It's not about like that passion of the shoe. You know what I mean? Now it's about like resell,
yeah,
and people only want to buy what's hot. I mean, it's kind of depressing. I could go on for like 6 hours about how I feel about all that, but
yeah. I'm sure you could probably give me the details better than I could remember. But dunks right now, they're like they're reselling for hundreds, right? And I'm
yeah.
sure back in the day they were like less than 100, right?
Yeah,
From my understanding, is that correct?
no,
Yeah.
no, yeah, yeah. I mean, when I was, I guess when I was in my early 20s, I was living by myself, and I had a crappy little freelance job at that point, and so I didn't have a ton of sneakers at that point. And I remember I went to a local mall and I got a pair of the Villanova Dunks, the Villanova Dunk Highs,
Yeah,
and they were $34 just sitting there. I mean, they
that's
were like
crazy.
practically dusty, and I
Yeah.
had a couple other Dunk Lows that I found at like random sneaker places that I would get for like $50, you know what I mean? So to
Mm.
see where it's gone now is crazy. But it just takes one rapper like Travis Scott or somebody like that to wear this stuff, and then it pops off, which again is frustrating, but it's
It's the
what the
world we live
culture
in.
is now.
Yeah, it's the
It
world we live in
is.
today. So not
It
really
is.
much we can do. So
No.
what kind of what year was the were you helping this shop out? What kind of year was that roughly?
That was early 90s. That was like, I want to say like 92, 93. So I go way back. I mean,
Mm.
I'm old washed dad. So I've been in this for a long time. So yeah, I mean,
And what kind of
for
shoes were
me,
they? What kind of shoes are they that you were helping them out with about
I
back
mean, it
then?
was, it was the Jordans at that point. A lot of trainers like the Bo Jacksons.
Yeah.
At that point, Ken Griffey Jr.'s kicks were starting to come out, and they were hot. Like I said, the Reebok pumps, everything like that. Trying to think what else was really popular back then. Yeah, that was pretty much it. But for us as kids back then in Jordan's prime, you were excited to see the beginning of the season to see what kicks he would pull out. And then to watch him play in them. And I've always had an affinity for what sneakers look like on screen. Like,
Okay.
there's been a lot of basketball shoe models that when you hold them in your hand, they're kind of funky, but there's something about them when you see them on screen on the players, it just makes you fiend for them. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what it was like, in the early 90s, watching these guys like Barkley. He was another one, all of his kicks were super hot. And then there was random guys that came up like Chris Webber, his first couple models were super popular. But again, it wasn't what we do now where we go on the internet and we see pictures of all these shoes. It was literally turning on games and seeing these guys balling in them and being like, oh my God, it looks so dope
Yeah.
on screen.
It
So
seems it seems nowadays it seems to be more focused on like hip hop rappers and stuff like that. It seems to
yep.
be like what the youth of today seem to be looking at, like what are those guys doing, as opposed to like I mean, for me personally, like I'm not big into basketball. I've seen like Zion has some shoes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
but it seems to be more like the Travis Scotts and people like that now that really influence like sneakers, which
Yeah, and Drake and
yeah,
all those guys. I mean, again, though, it's all the social media because if you're scrolling through, they're mostly showing, celebrities and kicks and stuff like that. So these kids are seeing all that stuff, and it's just, it's different now. I mean, even back in, I would say, like the mid 2000s, when LeBrons and KDs and the Kobe's, they were all jumping off. I would say it's even different now because I mean, you look at like Giannis has a SIG, and like little kids wear that kind of stuff. Little kids wear the Kyries,
mm,
but we were all wearing them. I mean, I was in my 30s and I was wearing LeBrons. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's really migrated now to lifestyle. Lifestyle is the most popular models that you can pick up now.
yeah. So I see mostly on your Instagram you're wearing your Nikes. You'd say you're on Team Nike all the way,
Yeah,
or
I would. I
yeah,
I I was heavy onto Boost and Yeezy for like, God, 3 or 4 years, and my friends still clown me because I was like all Adidas, all Yeezy. It drove my wife crazy because she can't stand Kanye.
yeah.
And when he went off in the direction he went off in, I was like, I'm done. Like I got rid of I sold all his merch, I sold all of his sneakers. I was just done. And since then, yeah, it's just straight up Nike, man.
All Nike. Yeah, no, because I had a
Yeah,
little scroll through. I was like, because
yeah.
I play it like fairly straight down the middle. Like I'm completely biased to Nike, but I have some Adidas and some Yeezys and stuff like that. But I was like, this guy, he must hate Adidas, you know?
I no, I respect these other brands, but to be completely honest with you, it's like I don't want to open up that Pandora's box because I already buy enough sneakers now. So like,
Yeah,
I see like dope New Balances drop and stuff like that, and it's like I can't slide down that lane because I know that if I go buy the New Balance,
there's
then I
gonna be
gotta
no
buy
stopping.
fits. Yeah, I gotta buy
Yeah.
fits to go with all that, and it's too much, man. My wife will freak out.
So what kind of shoes are you wearing for like training? What do you put much thought into that, or is it just any kind of Nikes?
uh, so as far as like training, I really love frees. I've always
Mm,
stuck with whatever free models I can get my hands on.
yeah, me too. Yeah.
Because I just love that feel, when you're doing cross training activities and stuff like that, like being able to feel the ground and being able to have something versatile under your feet. I love that feeling. Like I tried those, what are those Metacons or whatever? And
Yeah,
they're
just the flat
mostly for
ones.
like, yeah, they're
Yeah,
mostly for like
weightlifting.
meatheads and
Yeah,
stuff, like
yeah.
you can't be doing like side lunges and stuff like that in those. So yeah, I mostly stick with free models. And for running for a while there, I was with Brooks running. And
Okay.
the reason that I was using them is because I was having knee and back issues. So I went to a running store and got professionally fitted, and they fitted me in Brooks. So I just stuck with them for like 4 years. But the vain sneakerhead in me, I hated the look of the Brooks.
Mm,
So when the React Infinities dropped, I
yeah.
watched like a zillion YouTube reviews and read a bunch on them, and everybody had great things to say about them. So I'm on my third model of those now, and they've been great.
Mm,
So yeah,
okay. Yeah, no, for me it's freeze all the way as well. I mean,
yeah,
because obviously I'm doing martial arts. Like if I'm fighting and stuff, I'm
yep,
barefoot, so it makes sense for me to be, running in barefoot and weightlifting and training in barefoot. So I want to get as close to that as possible, obviously. So
yeah,
that's why I'm using the
yeah. I've
freeze.
noticed that you rock the freeze in some of your workouts. That's
Mm.
cool.
Yeah, if I can't go barefoot, it's freeze all the way.
Yeah,
I've got some like Zoom technology ones as well, like Pegasus
yep,
and stuff like that. But I've shied away just from wearing those just because I want to make sure I'm getting, the foot strengthening and calf strengthening.
yeah. And it
The
just feels awkward. I mean, like when
mm,
when you're doing like lunges, like I said, all these different um, positions and stuff. If you don't have something that's flexible under your feet, it doesn't work.
no, it doesn't feel right. Yeah, and I had some Metcons as well, but
Yeah,
got rid of those a long time ago because they
yeah,
just
they're like
yeah,
they're meathead joints. They're
literally like
like
having
for
bricks on my feet. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned in the DMs that you played basketball. So how was that experience for you? What kind of kicks were you rocking in basketball?
So, as I had mentioned, I was like really overweight as a kid.
Yeah.
So, as a way to combat that, we had a big driveway in the house I grew up in. So my dad put up a hoop, and that was like a game changer. I mean, all the kids from the neighborhood would come over. Kids from high school were coming over, and God, the stuff that I was playing. I mean, I played in the penny ones back then. The ones
Mm.
that the side, the foam comes up the side. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was playing in those. I was playing in some Barclays. God, air ups. I remember the air ups. I balled in for a while. The Zoom 95s. The ones that have like they look like hubcaps on the side. The J Kid.
I'm not familiar with those.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. So I balled in those for a while. So a lot of like the early '90s stuff, which was terrible for your feet, and the technology was pretty flimsy. But
Mm.
yeah, that was the type of stuff that I played in. And I actually, for a while there, I was even wearing Air Max ones to play ball, and they would fall, they would get
Yeah.
destroyed, but they were so comfortable to play in.
Mm. And so were you not so active like before the basketball then? Was that something did you get the hoop just to sort of combat the
I
weight
yeah,
or
that's probably what my dad's thinking was. I was pretty good at baseball growing up, and I played in a few leagues. I played on some like all-star tournaments. I played in high school for a little while, but I was always huge. Like I was always the kid that like during practice when they would make us run around the field, I was the kid that would fall down and fake ankle injuries so that I didn't have to finish it. And now I run like 10 miles like it's no problem, which is crazy to me still. But yeah, I just I was always really athletic, but I was heavy as hell.
Mm.
So, it was a challenge. But yeah, having the hoop and starting to play basketball a lot more, that definitely, I mean, because you get that cardio in that.
Yeah.
Baseball is easy for you to be all chubby and stuff like that and still get away with it.
A
But
lot of
you
standing
can't,
around, yeah. A lot of
yeah, a
standing
lot of
around.
standing around. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But with basketball, you can't really get away with that.
That's a good point as well, because I think obviously like you're not 100% sure if it was for the weight loss that you got the hoop and stuff like that, but when people are trying to lose weight, they always start with like the hardest thing first. I don't know if
Yes,
you've realized that they always try like,
yes,
okay, I'm going to run up like 10 miles,
yes,
which would have not been useful for you at the time. Do you know what I mean?
yes.
Like I go to martial arts, some form of martial arts training like 5 days a week, and then
Hmm.
during my lunch break for work I'm either lifting weights or running. So and people are like, oh, how do you do that? And I'm saying, I don't even have that good willpower. It's not I'm not that I don't like have
Hmm.
to try to do that because it's just something that I enjoy. And that's what I think.
Hmm.
Once you find something that you enjoy, that's when you can really hit your stride and like
Yes.
progress to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you know, the other thing too is when you start seeing results, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the other thing. But like you said, there's a lot of people that come, they fire out of the gates. I mean,
Mm.
there's been countless people on Instagram that have hit me up and they're like, I'm gonna start running, I'm gonna start running. I'm like, cool, you know what I mean? And like, we'll DM back and forth and they'll be tagging me and stuff. And the next thing I know, 3 weeks later, they're ghosts. There's no more running. There's no more anything, and it's because they started out the gate trying to run 6, 7 miles. It took me years to get to the point where I could run 6, 7 miles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And um, a lot of the patience that I've had through this journey, a lot of it is I don't know if you're familiar with the show The Biggest Loser. I don't know if they had it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that I learned from that, listening to the trainers talk to these people, especially in the beginning, is like when they would have some of those challenges where they would have them run, the whole thing was like, you can't fire out of the gates. And that's like that with any fitness journey that you're getting ready to embark on. Like,
Mm.
you got to start out slow because you sabotage yourself. You know what I mean? You beat yourself up, I'm fat, I'm never going to lose this weight. But if you
Yeah.
kind of like tread slowly, eventually you get stronger.
Yeah. For me, I've found that little and often works best for me. Like, especially
Mhm.
when starting out, it was just like, okay, I'm gonna like get my heart rate up and do some exercise like three
Yeah.
times a day. And then it's slowly built up where now I'm doing like so sometimes I'm doing jujitsu for like 2.5 hours at night after an hour's like weight session
Whew,
in the morning. So it's just like
whew.
I'm, you know, it's crazy, man. So, but again, like I said, it's not because I'm like trying really hard to do it. It's because like for me, there is no alternative. Like that's actually what I want to do, and I think
Yeah.
that's like the point that you need to get to where you actually learn to love it. Because if I wasn't doing it, I wouldn't be like feeling terrible because like, oh, I'm gonna gain weight or something like that. It would just be because I haven't done what I
Hmm.
enjoyed doing that day. And that's like a
Hmm.
powerful
Yep.
thing that you can like learn to love what sucks, because no matter how much you enjoy it, we can both admit that sitting in bed and watching Netflix and eating the ice cream and stuff is more comfortable than like the jiu-jitsu class. And no matter
Oh
who you
yeah.
are, of course it is, but
Yeah, for sure. For
I
sure.
enjoyed the jiu-jitsu class as well. And once you get there, it's just so much easier. So anyway, I'm rambling, but what I'm saying is little and often. That's what I would say.
No, no, it's
And I think if you start the week and you go for like a massive workout, like say I like try to crank out like 100 push-ups on Monday, right? On
hmm.
Tuesday I'd be
Hmm.
sore, I'd do nothing.
Yep.
On Wednesday I'd be like, oh, I'm still a bit
Yeah.
sore, and
Yeah.
I kind of nearly did 100, so I'm good actually. But if I did like 20 a day
Yep.
or something like that over a longer period of time, I've made so much more progress. Do you know what I mean? So I think it can be broken down in a lot of different ways that,
Yep.
people they get on, um, like you said, they get on Instagram and they're like, oh, I'm gonna do X amount, and it falls through. And I think that's the same for diet as well,
Well,
because
they
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the other thing too is I feel like people are so focused. Now everybody wants to focus on macros and gains, and you see the guys in the gym that keep the ledgers and the books all the time. And I've never been that dude because, like, I just feel like that makes it almost like pressurizes it. Whereas like all the fitness
Yeah,
stuff for me, it's supposed to be a release. It's supposed to be where like I let go of all of that stuff and I just do what my body can take that day. And I
yeah,
feel like people get too like, they've got their books out and they're like, well, I did, 6 reps of X weight yesterday. So I got to ramp it up today. And it's like, no, just listen to your body. Just do what your
yeah.
body can do. You know what I mean? And I just feel like people get so focused, micro focused on stuff when it's like really just strip all that stuff away and just listen to your body. You know what I mean? Like,
I totally get what
I
you're
don't know.
saying. Yeah, and
Yeah.
to do with like diet as well. I think people,
Yeah.
they'll go into it and they'll be like, okay, last week I was eating the McDonald's and the KFC and
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
This week I'm gonna eat just salad leaves. Do you know what I
Yep.
mean? You know,
Yes.
I'm gonna cut out like beer and KFC to salad
Yes.
leaves and water. Never gonna
Yes.
happen. Never ever gonna happen.
No. No. And I mean, I was that dude for years. I mean, I struggled. I was always, I went through the period where, growing up, I didn't work out at all. And I was just, heavy, everything like that. And then I started to get into like the gym when I was in high school. But I was one of those like fit fat dudes. I was one of those dudes that was like, oh, well, I went to the gym for an hour today, so I can go pound, beers and sandwiches and everything because I worked out today. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I rode that out for a long time. And then I think it was like 2009. I had belonged to a gym for like 4 or 5 years. And there was a trainer there that I got pretty friendly with. And one day he came up to me and he was like, bro, I see you in here 6 days a week. You're not doing anything right. You're not losing any weight. He's like, if you give me the opportunity, like I'll volunteer to help you out because I know that you're going to put the work in. So I was like,
Mm.
whatever, dude, whatever you want me to do. So, we started with my diet. We put my diet ahead of any of the weight training and cardio and everything like that. And it was it wasn't the dramatic, like you were saying, like last week you're eating KFC and now you're just eating cabbage. It was more small steps like don't put cream in your coffee, drink your coffee black, or when you eat a salad, use balsamic in it, not ranch dressing, and little steps like that. Drink a gallon of water a day. And man, within 3 months my weight was just coming off, and I ended up dropping 48 pounds in that year just based on that simple stuff.
That's crazy. That is
Yeah.
honestly, that's so much. That's
Yeah, it
insane.
was
And
it, it was a
just from,
ton.
yeah, just from
It
the
was a
little
ton, and
things as
it and
well.
it yeah, it was just the easy stuff. And the other thing, like I really enjoy going out with my friends and my wife, and I like drinking and everything like that. And you know, I wanted to figure out a way that I could still do that stuff but not be a slob. And he was like, switch over to vodka, do vodka and club sodas. And that was another thing. Like I stopped drinking beers, and it was like it was all part of that like dramatic change. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah,
I've just
no,
kept
yeah.
that. I've kept that going, since then.
What kind of did he help you on your exercises as well
Yeah,
after what
yeah.
kind of
So
things did he
I
have you doing?
well, I had never worked with a trainer. I didn't really know too much about weight training to the point where I would go to the gym 6 days a week and I would literally just do everything. I would do every body part.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know like, okay, I'm going to do chest day today and back day. I did everything, and then went and drank 30 beers and ate a large pizza. You know what I mean? So he broke it up. Mondays is chest and back, and Tuesdays is this. And it was like, wow, this is how you work out. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
again, that's something that I've carried into today. Like, at least I know now that you split up body parts.
You need to
Because
hear
I was
everything.
just,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I was just doing nonsense. I mean, God, I wasted so many years, you know what I mean? Just being dumb.
Yeah, for me, I'm not sure what the culture is like over there, but for me, like we all got to an age, 16 or something, when we could go into the gym. Everyone started just doing bench press like every single day. And
Yeah.
like curl, like it was just like curls and bench
Yes.
press, and that was it. Like
Yes.
that's all we
Yeah.
did. And
Yeah.
you justify it because the bench press is going up, but really you're not like
No.
doing anything. Like
No.
you're literally not doing anything.
No. So you
Um,
had those dudes
yeah,
walking around with like the big chests and arms, but then with the big bellies too. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like it just because they weren't doing anything else.
Mm. Yeah, and then you slowly get into like the bro split. It's the
Yes.
chest, back, and arms and stuff like
Yes.
that. And then
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've moved away from that recently. I've just started doing more like functional kind of movements. So I've
Yep.
been doing
Yep.
kettlebells.
Yep.
I hit the compounds like every once in a while.
Yep.
But it's ironic, right? But back in the day, I would just be trying to pack on. Like, I'd just be eating like fried chicken. I'd just be trying to pack on, trying to get like huge.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'd justify it by like, the bench going up and stuff like that, and my
yeah,
arms getting bigger and stuff like that.
yeah.
And like I was like muscly but fat at the same time.
Yeah,
And the irony now is, now I'm like I'm the same weight, but I'm like, my face is so much skinnier.
yeah,
I don't have
yeah,
like fat over me. I've just like
yeah.
kept the muscle and stuff like that, and I can bench so much more than I could then. And I don't even do like half the amount of training for that like area. Do you know what I mean?
uh,
It's
it's all
crazy. Yeah.
it's all a learning process, you know what I mean? Like
Mm,
that's I don't regret all of my dumb years in fitness, because I feel like it was all these tiny steps to get to where I am today.
yeah.
And it also makes for a good story too for these people that are struggling. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
hey, I was a dummy too, you know what I mean? And it took me a really long time. Just I like being relatable to people. I don't like trying to be that person where it's like, I'm at this spot now and I've always been at this spot. No, it was a struggle. Like,
mm.
Jesus Christ,
We've all, yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Like like when I was in school, I used to go to the gym like with one guy, and we used to think like chicken equals putting muscle on. So we'd
Hmm.
be like, "Oh, do you want after school? Do you want to go to KFC and get hot wings?" I don't know if you guys have hot wings. It might be something
Yeah,
different over there,
yeah,
but it's just like a
yeah, for
tiny bit of
sure.
chicken like this big.
Yes.
Hot
Yeah.
wings, man. Come on,
Yeah.
what's going
Yo,
on?
that's so funny. That's so
Mm,
funny. I went through a period. I had like a corporate job, and the gym that I was going to, I would go after work. So during lunch, we have these places around us called Wawas, and they're basically like, it's like a little convenience store, and they make like hoagies. Do you know what a hoagie is?
I
Like a
don't.
sub, it's
Okay,
like an
like a Subway
Italian
kind of
sub.
thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like
Okay.
that. So I would get a big hoagie like that, a like a soda or some type of thing. But did you guys have EAS, that product EAS, like EAS shakes? They were like
No.
protein shakes, and like, so I would eat all of this junk food, but pound one of these EAS like
Yeah.
protein drinks and be like, all right, like I'm ready. I'm ready to go to the gym now. And you know what I mean? It was just so dumb. Oh God.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, we've all been there, mate. We've all been there. What kind
yeah.
of what's your diet kind of looking like now? Are you sticking to any kind of, do you do like keto or something, or are you just in
No,
general
I
trying
don't.
to eat
Yeah, see, I
healthy?
don't, like I said, like even, with like the people keeping logs and books and everything like that, I can't get that granular with it. So for me, what has worked is I basically do like a Monday through Friday where I'm pretty clean, you know what I mean? I do like these protein pancakes first thing in the morning with almond butter. I'll eat
Mm,
that before I work out. And then, I do kale shakes. And then for lunches, I'll do like bean burgers and cottage cheese. Dinner, like chicken, eggs, stuff like that. And I'll do that for the first 5 days of the week. And then when the weekend comes around, Fat Jesse just comes out, man. That's when I
you've
go
got,
ham.
yeah, you've got to release him at some point in
You've
the
got
week,
it.
or
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
need that
cave.
balance.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And you know, I'm sure if my friends listen to this, they'll probably take offense, but none of my friends are really into fitness the way that I'm into it. So
yeah,
for me, hanging out with them on the weekends, it's not going to be like, hey, let's go like eat a salad and drink some water. Like when you go out with the boys, like you go out with the boys. So
oh
like I
yeah,
can't, you know what I mean? Like I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
going to be out there, So it's a good balance, and I need it because I can't just be that disciplined. I need those releases, you know what I mean? And I
Mm,
still work out on the weekends, and it's brutal because I have all that junk in my system, but I just know that when Monday rolls around, you get back on it and it's hard, and you feel beat, but by Wednesday I'm feeling okay, and then then it's the weekend. I do it
Yeah,
all
weekend
over
again, and
again.
then you're back
Yeah,
to, yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
it's really refreshing to like talk to someone who doesn't take it like overly, like doesn't take it over the top, because there's definitely two sides to it. Like,
yeah.
there are people having wars on Twitter about what you
Oh
should and
my
shouldn't
God,
eat and
I
stuff, and
know.
like, I've been involved in stuff like that. Like, at the start of this year, um I stopped eating meat for a bit, just because I had a family member that was a bit ill, and I just wanted to see like how it affected me as well.
Hmm.
So I tried that out for a bit, but you know you it almost takes more discipline to be able to have those like I hate cheat days, but those cheat
I
days on the
know. Yeah,
weekends,
yeah, yeah,
those
yeah,
cheat days on the weekends, it takes more discipline to almost allow yourself to have that, and knowing that you're going to be okay on Monday, rather than like just going flat out the whole time, because again, it's not sustainable. Like the going from KFC to lettuce, or
yeah,
going from no exercise to 10
yeah,
miles in a day. It's just
yeah,
not sustainable to carry that over a long period of time. And it's about balance as well. Like you said, you'll go out of your mates and you'll be able to enjoy yourself instead of
yeah.
worrying about counting calories and
Yes.
stuff like that. So no, it is refreshing to speak to someone who feels the same as me. Yeah.
Yeah,
um
yeah. I've I'm like that about everything, you know what I mean? Like if I get too zoned in, then it's not fun, and it almost it creates anxiety, you know what I mean? Like
hmm,
I get that way when I know that I have a race coming up. If I signed up for a race, like a 10 mile or something like that, it gives me so much anxiety leading up to it, because it's like, okay, I know I have to hit a certain amount of miles leading up to it to make sure I'm fit enough to complete this race. And it stresses me out. Like, I can't, for me to get through anything, it's all like feel and vibes. And, it's about just getting through it on my own accord, not having to like hit a goal. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
listening
then
to
I
your own
just,
body, listening to your
yeah,
own body instead of worrying about like
yeah,
the rules that you have written down beforehand.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So you've done races then. So what kind of
Yep.
what what races have you done?
I've done two or three half marathons in
Okay.
Philly, and for the past 4 years I've done it's the Broad Street Run. So Broad Street runs through Center City, Philadelphia, and it's a 10-mile run. And it's like a historic run to Philly. That it's been going on for I think 42 years now, and it's
Okay.
actually the largest 10-mile race in the country. There's like 50,000 participants, which is insane.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It takes an hour just to get up to the starting line. You basically like are in a herd,
Because you're like,
and
yeah, you're all next to each other. Yeah.
you just kind of like crawl to the starting line. But it was pretty awesome, because when my daughter was I think she was 2, I ran my first Broad Street Run, and it's nationally televised. And just by happenstance, her and my wife were watching our in the bedroom just as I was crossing the finish line. So my daughter talks about it all the time, like I'm like a superhero that she saw me on TV. You
Oh
know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's cool. I mean, that type of stuff too. When you start having kids and they see you doing the stuff that you're doing, that also motivates you to get up every day and keep doing it.
Yeah. I was actually gonna bring that up at the end. So obviously I see you have a lovely family, kids and stuff like that. Have
Yeah.
you obviously from your experiences of like not being the healthiest when you were younger as well, have you sort of like encouraged them to take up sport, or have they done it off their own accord just because they've seen you do it?
Well, it's one of these things that my wife and I, because she also, when she was little, she was pretty big too. It runs on both sides of our family, so we have to watch it with our kids.
Mm,
But there's like a healthy balance to that too. You know what I mean?
definitely.
Where
Yeah.
it's like, because eating disorders are so prevalent, especially now. So you have to
Mm,
be really careful with how you talk to your kids about this stuff. I mean, especially my daughter, who's 7 now. And, she loves her Doritos and pizza and stuff like that. But we have to balance it off with, we keep tons of fruit in the house. And, we don't buy any like processed like white breads and stuff like that. So everything's whole grains and everything like that. So we try to balance it off. The one thing I guess that we are kind of crazy about is she's 7 and has never had a soda. Like we've never given her a soda, and she's 7 years old. She doesn't even know what it tastes like. Because that stuff is it's just so bad for
It's
you.
like petrol, isn't it, really?
It really is. It
Yeah.
is. But outside of that, if she does a good job at school or something like that, like you buy the kid an ice cream, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh,
Like
for sure. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
some maniacs that like try to keep that stuff away from their kids, but I don't know. That's like part of growing up. You know what I
No,
mean?
definitely. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
encourage the, you know, being active and getting involved
yeah.
in team sports and stuff like that. But kids they need the sugar and the pizza sometimes, So
My biggest thing is like, you know, my daughter's shown that she wants to like sign up for soccer. Like she thinks she wants to play soccer or whatever. And like that's cool. And she brought that up on her own, that was something she was interested in. And my hopes are that they see what I'm doing every single day, and that's just going to kind of set them on a healthier path. I
yeah,
mean, that was one of the blessings that came out of quarantine last year, is for the first time in my kids' life, they saw what I was doing every day. Because
mm,
before that, I was leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning, doing my workouts at the gym. And by the time they woke up, I was either in the shower or whatever. So they didn't see what I was doing. But
mm,
now they just walk down in the basement and they see me doing all my stupid stuff down there, you know what I mean? And running on the treadmill. And so, they think I'm like a superhero now, which is cool,
yeah.
I mean, you just want to influence them any way that you can. So
Mm. No, it must be good. I mean, I don't have kids myself, but I help at my taekwondo class with like some of the warm ups and stuff like that.
yeah.
I'm training to be an instructor myself.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm big on like trying to get the next generation into it and stuff like that. And a few of my co-workers have actually brought like their kids and grandkids to the class and stuff, and they've gone home and they've been like, when I grow up I want to be like Jack and stuff like that. And
That's
after seeing
awesome.
me once, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's
damn.
awesome.
So it's a really nice feeling to have, and it definitely it made my day when they said that. So I can't
Yeah,
imagine what it'd be like just
just
having kids of
imagine
your
when you
own.
have a kid. Yeah. When you
Yeah.
have a kid looking at you that way, it's like, like my son now, he's only 3. And when I come upstairs in the morning after my workout, the first thing he says is, Dad, how was your workout? You know what I mean? And
Oh,
it's like, that's
yeah.
awesome. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool to be able to have them see that, you know what I mean? Because I didn't have that growing up. My parents were alcoholics and smoked, and there was no fitness in our house whatsoever. So I didn't have those influences growing up. For me, it was turning on the TV and seeing athletes and being like, man, I want to look like these guys, you know what I mean? But I just didn't know how, especially when I
Yeah.
was younger. But
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, it's definitely good that your kids are getting to observe it for themselves as well, instead of just
yeah,
being told like you should do this or something. They're getting to see
yeah,
you do it
because
as
they
well.
won't. Yeah,
Yeah.
they won't. You know what I mean?
Mm, okay. So what kind of workouts are you doing then down in the basement? I see you
So
follow some like YouTube stuff as well, and you do a
yeah,
lot of like body weight calisthenic kind of stuff.
yep,
So what kind of
yeah.
things are you doing?
So when the pandemic hit, and I couldn't go to the gym anymore, I had the treadmill down here, and obviously I could run, but you can't just do that all the time.
Mm,
So I started messing around with the Nike training app, and I was doing some of the classes on there. And I was never a class guy before the pandemic. I was, get up every day, go to the gym, you know what I mean? And once that happened, and I was forced to find another avenue, that's when I started exploring the apps and YouTube. And I would say over like the last 6 months, I've been strictly with those Heather Robertson workouts.
Okay.
And I mean, it kicks my ass. Like every day it kicks my ass because it's such variety. You know what I mean? It isn't like when I would go to the gym and, you fall into those patterns of doing the same stuff over and over again.
Mm.
This is cool because, first of all, it's all free. But second of all, if you sign up, every month she puts out a 30-day calendar, and all you have to do is click on the days and it takes you right to a video, and it's that simple. So
Okay.
I've been doing all that stuff, and I mean my body has drastically changed in a year, just core strength and stability, and I feel like my stamina's up. And yeah, I mean, at this point, there's no going back. I mean, I went to a gym this morning with my cousin for the first time in 16 months, and it was like weird. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
it felt like I had people all around me, and I didn't have a TV screen to focus on my workouts. It's like all this chaos going on. I was like, man, just get me back in my basement, man. Like I don't need all this nonsense. You know what I mean? People, coaches yelling at me and stuff. Like I don't need that shit. I do this stuff every day.
Yeah, no, I totally the more we're talking, it's almost like we've been on a similar journey this year. Because for me, like previously I was going to the gym and stuff, I was using, the barbells and stuff like that. And then we obviously went into lockdown. I was stuck. I was running a bit more. I was doing some more body weight stuff. And then I haven't actually gone back to the gym, but I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu about a year ago now. And as part of the membership, we get to use, they have like an upstairs area. It just has like some basic stuff, a bench and everything. And I was like, oh, that's
hmm
great. Now I get to like use that and not have to pay for the gym and go to another place. I just get to like do the jiu-jitsu, and then I can
Yeah.
go upstairs if I want. I haven't used it much. I've been up there a few times, and every time I go up there, I just seem to use like the kettlebells and stuff, which is stuff that I have at home. So
At
it's,
home.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite like interesting. When I was forced to like get away from the main like compound movements and
Yeah.
like bro split, and I don't want to go back. And like I said,
Yeah.
even after stopping doing that and stopping like bulking and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I've done this more functional stuff, and then I've actually gone there and practiced my 1 rep max and my how many I can do for reps,
hmm
and it's just to see like if I'm stronger now or weaker now, and I'm so much stronger than I used to be. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
It's
same things
yeah,
happened to me too. Yeah. Same
yeah,
things happened to me.
just from running and wrestling guys and choking people out, and somehow my bench has gotten better. Doesn't make any
Well, and
sense.
you're out swinging sledgehammers in the snow and shit too. So that'll
Yeah.
that'll man,
maybe,
it's
maybe
crazy.
it's had a bit of an effect, but
Man. Yeah, it was interesting watching you because I saw you were doing the same thing I was doing, at home. I saw you in your yard and everything like that. And I had respect for what you were doing because it's by any means necessary, you know what I mean? Because there's no going back. Like that was
mm,
my whole mentality when everything shut down, was like, all right, I'm not going back to having big fat man boobs and, muffin tops again. Like I've got to figure this out somehow. And thank God for YouTube and these apps and everything like that. And now it's at the point where there's no excuse.
mm. Welcome back.
Yo, bro, fake Reebok pump Wi-Fi, man. My God, there's like I looked outside. I guess there's like a storm coming or something.
Oh my god, have you frozen again? Oh no, you're back. It keeps freezing.
Wait,
You're
is it
back.
freezing again? Wait, all right, yeah, I'm back again.
It froze a little bit, man.
Fucking trash,
You
bro.
need to sell some of those shoes behind you and get
I
some better
know.
Wi-Fi. Oh, come on. You keep
Oh,
freezing now.
wait. Now it's back up again. Yo, this is crazy. My God, dude. Yeah, we just came off. We had like a 17-hour power outage just the other
Oh
day.
wow.
Yeah, it's been storming like crazy around here. But yeah,
Yeah.
all right, it looks like I'm good.
Looks like you're okay for now. For
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can't even
yeah. Yeah.
remember. You were saying you were there's like no going back to the gym, right? That's what we were talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And just how there's like no excuses now, you know what I mean? For people to not get their asses in shape. I mean, it's right there. It's at
Yeah,
everybody's
with all the
fingertips.
apps and the YouTube stuff and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm sure you know the people that I know too that like need fitness buddies to like go to the gym with them and all that
Yeah.
nonsense. It's like just turn on the goddamn TV, put on some spandex and like pick up a goddamn kettlebell. It's that
Mm,
easy, you know?
yeah. No, I think as well as like one thing that's helped me. I've spoken to one of my it was actually the first guy I had on here called Charlie. And it's good that like I follow so many like yourself. There's a guy called Cornelius. You know Cornelius.
It
He
sounds familiar.
he's a sneaker guy as well, but he posts like workouts and stuff. There's a guy called Greg, obviously yourself. I've got a good
Yeah.
friend Ben, who's been posting workout stuff. So I think like even though I'm doing it on my own, just seeing like all you guys, like obviously you're in a completely different time zone to me. So I'm waking up and I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, Jesse's already at it, you know. So I got to get up and do this now. So no, it's good. Like obviously I could be following like bums, you know, and not get any
Yeah, yeah,
inspiration. But it's good to like have
yeah.
a nice like group of people that you know that you see like every day on your feed that
I
sort
feel the
of gets
same
you out
way.
there. Yeah.
I feel the same way. It all, you know, you, there's a few other people that, yeah, definitely inspire me to keep going.
Mm,
And, you know, I've had enough people, and I'm sure it's happened to you, that have messaged you that are like, you know, how do you do it? You know, how
yeah.
do you do this every day? And, you know, in the back of your mind while you're doing it, you're hoping that they're seeing it too. Like, you know, you just do it. You just, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, it's the same as the children, the kids thing is like
yeah,
you want people to see it to for them to
yeah,
think like this is the normal way how to be healthy instead of like the eating disorders and the arguments about
yes,
not eating certain things. It's like just set a good
yeah.
example without having to say it to other people. And that has been something that's happened. Like me and my good friend Charlie, like he's introduced kettlebells and fitness to a lot of different people that we know, like in real life, people that we went to
Hmm.
school with and stuff, who never even they didn't even make the mistakes at the gym that me and you were talking about. They
Yeah,
literally haven't even exercised before, and they're now
yeah.
buying their own kettlebells and stuff. So it really is like a you can infect people with it. You know,
Yes.
you can really pass it on to each other.
Yeah, and it's not about like a flex, like look at me. It's
Mm,
like you can do this too. That's why it's also important for me to show that like this shit's kicking my ass. Like it's not easy. You know what I mean? Like I'm not getting up every day at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning doing this stuff and being pumped about it every day. Like it's really hard. So, you know, if you try and it's really hard, yeah, like that's how it is. But you just you build on top, you know, little bricks here and there.
and for you
One
as
of
well, most of the stuff you post is you. It's just you laying on the floor afterwards as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah,
you're
because
not.
I just that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. I mean, everybody that knows me in my personal life, I'm super transparent. Like I'm, you know, what you see is what you get. So I'm not trying to communicate anything different to social media. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like I'm just a fucking. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse. I'm
No,
just
no.
a.
Yeah.
I'm just a old dad that's trying to stay fit and relevant and you know, I'm just challenging myself every day in this new journey that I'm on after this whole year. It's been challenging and exciting in a way because, like you were saying, you know, you're discovering all of this new stuff and it just makes you want to do it more. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So that's what I mean. People just need to find their thing. Like if their thing is kettlebells, if they pick up a kettlebell and they're like, wow, I love doing these workouts, then do it. You know what I mean? Or some people want to ride bikes, some people run, but you got to find what that thing is, or you know, you're going to be 80 years old and your kids are going to have to wipe your ass because you're not going to be able to like reach behind yourself anymore. And that's like a real thing. Like I've
Yeah.
learned that through physical therapy and injuries that I've had, where it's like, if you don't prepare your body for when you do get to that stage of your life, people are going to need to take care of you. And like, I'm not ready for that shit. Like
Mm,
that's,
no
you know,
chance. Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's a big thing that I've been focusing on as well, is longevity.
Yes.
Like for what I was doing before, I was just, obviously I was trying to pack on the muscle and stuff, and people don't realize some of the problems that you get with being overweight, you have the same problems with being over
Yes.
muscly as well. I know it's
Yes.
overweight technically, but like you
Yes. Yeah.
packing on too much muscle, is it's
Yes.
sleep ap- apnea
Yeah. Sleep
something.
apnea. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's muscle, fat, whatever. If you have too much on your
Yep.
body, it affects your breathing when you're sleeping.
Yep.
They're just the same. So people don't realize that, like, yeah, okay, you can bench more than me at the gym, but at what cost? Do you know what I mean? If that does that mean that
Yep.
like you're not going to be able to like run around with your grandkids,
Yep.
possibly,
Yep.
and it's unless you're being paid a full-time wage to be that big or that like
Yeah.
healthy, unhealthy, and be that muscly,
Yeah.
then it doesn't really balance to be all that worth it at the end of the day.
Well, like you said, it's about sustainability, whether it's your diet or your workout. It's stuff
Mm,
that you can carry with you for life. You know what I mean? I worked with a guy in the previous agency that I worked at. He was like in his 50s. And at that time, I was like in my early 30s. And I remember he was a big bike rider. He would ride through, all the parks around work and everything like that. And I remember at one point he sat down with me and he was like, "You've got to start stretching now every day. You got to start stretching now every day, or when you get into your 40s and your 50s and your 60s, you're going to be hurting. You're going to be getting hurt a lot. You're going to lose your flexibility." And I laughed at him at that point. And then, towards my late 30s, I really started breaking down, with the backs and the knees and having to start physical therapy and all that stuff. So now it's like every morning when I get up, it's probably, it takes me an hour to be able to get started for a workout because I have to like foam roll. I got to use those like massage guns. I got to use like lacrosse balls, all of that stuff just to get ready. Um, so
yeah.
people don't think about that stuff.
No, admittedly, that probably is one thing that I should start doing more. I stretch like before a workout and stuff, and I do a lot of like most of my like taekwondo training is just stretching because obviously you got to be
Yeah,
flexible and stuff like that. And
yeah,
because I'm like quite a big guy, flexibility has always been like my weakness in turn,
me too.
So um yeah, so that's one thing that I do need to work on. I've been thinking of starting some yoga and stuff like that, or I'll probably look at
Yeah.
some of the workouts that you do. Because
Yeah,
yeah, so,
there's a lot of resources. I mean, there's I bought a foam roller and there's a video that I found on YouTube. It's 25 minutes long of just foam rolling.
mm,
And it seems very tedious and a lot of the moves are you don't really think they're doing anything. But when you're done that 25-minute session and you stand up, I mean, it feels like I have a new body, it feels
mm.
like I'm like 35 again instead of 42.
No, so that's the same with me. Sometimes I come out of taekwondo and I'm like, I want to start taekwondo now, like because I'm fully like
Yeah, yeah,
most
limber
flexible
and
I've been, like ready to go,
yep,
after
yep,
after the session.
yep,
No, I totally get you.
yeah,
How do you balance? Because obviously you told me you work in a marketing company, I believe.
yep,
How do you
yep.
balance your workouts like with? Because I assume the marketing company you do some sitting down and some desk work and stuff like that. Is that the case or?
So yeah, I mean, it's basically what I'm doing right now. I mean, this is my office. I just sit in here, what I mean, and I do my work. And I guess when my daughter was born, just with how intense it is in the morning with just getting the kids ready and work starting, that's when I started with the 4 a.m. Set my alarm at 4 a.m. and
Hmm.
getting everything out of the way so that, if a meeting pops up at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning, or if there's a hot job that I have to jump on, or if, my kid decides to smear poop all over the walls or something insane first thing in the morning, I got my workout done. So I don't have to
Yeah.
stress about it. Whereas before, I work out at, 10, 11 o'clock, and I'd be in the gym, and my business partner would be calling me, with a hot job. And then the anxiety sets in because I'm at the gym and I got to rush home and everything like that. So, getting it in early, it's not easy. And, I'm tired a lot of times in the morning, but being able to be done by 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and have the rest of the day for whatever else is going to pop off. I mean, that's kind of how I've gotten through it.
Mm. Yeah.
But that being said, by 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm ready to go to bed. I mean, I'm like wiped by that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I won't keep you much longer then if it's getting past your bedtime.
yeah, I'm getting ready to slip on my jammies pretty soon. Have my green tea. You know what I mean?
I'm on my last legs right now. It's getting close to midnight, and
Is it really?
yeah,
Oh, I keep forgetting like where the
UK
time
man,
zones are.
UK. Yeah. Nah.
Damn, man. Meanwhile, my Wi-Fi's all jacked up and it's midnight over by you. Oh my god.
Yeah. That is actually all the questions that I had planned. Obviously
Okay.
we've gone through a lot about fitness and stuff about sneakers. I've asked this to a few different people, but if you could give like one piece of advice to someone maybe who's going through something similar to what you went through in the past to do with weight loss, or just what you're going through now as someone who, is balancing a family and fitness, just one bit of advice that you could give to anyone that's still listening.
I guess that the best piece of advice that I have is be transparent with your homies. Like, build a little circle around yourself that you can lean on and be transparent with. And, you know, um, it's so important for me to have that support system just to get through all of this, everything that I go through during the day, whether it's, the fitness stuff and, work stuff and personal life, you know what I mean? And, you know, there comes a point in everybody's life, especially as you start getting older, where there's like those come to Jesus moments where it's like, okay, this is who I am, and I need to own it, and I need to try to be the best version as of myself as I possibly can. And it's really just up to you. You know what I mean? So I think just being honest with yourself and building a little community around you that will support you and love you and cheer you on is huge. I mean, that's what's gotten me to this point. I didn't get here by myself, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So yeah, that's basically it, I would say.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, I definitely felt change when I started like surrounding myself with different kinds of people.
Yeah.
I was in with a bit of a difficult crowd.
Yep.
And I was in a relationship, and the person in a relationship, they didn't want what was best for me, if you get what
Yeah.
I mean. So
Yeah, sure.
I think like most of my changes happened from, like they say, you're a combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with,
Yes.
and
Yes.
luckily that's my dad and
Yeah.
my taekwondo instructor and my jiu-jitsu instructor and
Yeah.
my friend
Yeah.
Charlie. So I've got a lot
Yeah.
of like good people around me. So that's yeah, I double down on what you said. Surround
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
with a good group of people.
Yeah, you gotta have, my wife is amazing and she's there for me every day. But you also need those homies that you can pick up the phone and cry to or laugh with
Yeah.
or just vent with, just to get through your shit, whatever it is.
Mm.
And that's huge. I mean, that's what got me through 2020. And it's just so important to have that behind you. So yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
no, it's a great bit of advice, and yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm sure anyone who's listened this far, you've definitely like helped a lot of people sharing your story and giving advice. If they want to find you, follow you, you post, sneakers and
Yeah.
workouts and stuff. Where can they
Yeah.
find you?
Yeah, I mean, just on Instagram at Jesse_Wines, and I mess around on Twitter a little bit at the same handle or whatever. But I say this to anybody, don't hesitate to DM me. You know what I mean? Any type of challenges that you're having, or fitness issues, or you need motivation. I mean, I'm definitely not a fitness instructor or anything like that. I'm just a regular dude, but I think I'm pretty good at motivating people, you know what I mean? Just through some of the stuff I've been through. So yeah, I mean, hit me up.
Yeah, hit him up. You heard it. Yeah. Anyway, no, I really appreciate you giving your time
Yeah,
today
this
and
this
speaking to
this
me.
was my pleasure, man. This was awesome. This was
No,
great.
I've really enjoyed it, and hopefully, we definitely like extracted a lot of good information and advice and stuff for hopefully anyone that's watching, if there is anyone out there. But yeah, anyone that is watching, thank you for sticking around this long. Thank you, Jesse, for speaking to
Yeah.
me, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
All right, man. Peace.